My name is Dr. Max Hawkins. I work with Alltech. I work with the North American Mycotoxin group. And we're going to give you a little info on still trying to get rid of the problems that we're finding with the 2012 crop. Maybe a little insight on what we're starting to see already with the 2013 crop. The 2012 crop, as we know, it was not a good year for growing corn. It was extremely dry in most the corn growing area, and that led to mold growth that led primarily to two families of toxins, both aflatoxins and fumonisin. Both of those can be very detrimental to pigs in terms of growth and performance and overall health. We've also, as we've gotten further into the storage year for that 2012 corn, we've began to find that there are more toxins being generated, or more mold growth producing more toxins the longer we go into storage, particularly as producers are beginning to clean out bins. As you get to the lower portion of those bins where the damaged kernels and the fines tend to be more located, it can be extremely high in mycotoxin content and have very detrimental effect on livestock health and performance. So there's still a lot to deal with as we go through this 2012 crop, but as we look to the 2013 crop, we've already had some factors influencing us in that we've had a lot of cold, wet weather. The crop is late, about 30 days late compared to what some people would consider normal. If you would look at a lot of the percent planting numbers, those numbers are starting to look better, but the crop is still late. There's still a lot of that crop that has to get into the ground yet. We've had a lot of trash left on top of the ground that in this cold, wet weather has been producing mold. So the mold that is needed to produce the mycotoxins is present in the field. There's a long time until we put this crop for 2013 into the bin and start to feed that grain, but some of the predisposing factors that would make us cautious are already present that could affect it. To best manage it for corn that's in storage right now from the 2012 crop, you want to make sure that and monitor that grain for mold growth. You might even have some toxin levels checked or assayed to see exactly what's there before it makes an impact on livestock production. Make sure that the grain stays dry. Make sure that if you do aerate it, you're not just bringing more moisture into it, which will increase the moisture level and allow more mold growth. But as mold grows, mold can produce enough moisture on its own to intensify that growth further. So it can be somewhat of a battle, but as long as you're monitoring it, and maybe those lower portions in the bin that contain a lot of fines, is to screen that when you empty the bins, or find another use for it besides just straight livestock feed. Well, starting out with what's potentially out there in the field right now for the 2013 crop, there may not be a lot that can be done right now other than just to monitor that crop closely. As that crop is growing, stress is what makes the mold develop and produce toxin. So some molds don't like hot weather, particularly when nights don't get below 90 degrees, such as aflatoxins. That's when they become very, very prevalent. Other molds, such as mycotoxin, like it a little colder and wetter, or don't like it cold and wet, and therefore the mold is stressed and it produces more toxin. So it really depends on some of the weather that we have here in the next 60 to 90 days, which corn farmers are already concerned about in terms of yields, and also just in terms of what other stress factors could play a factor, high levels of wind, hail damage, all those things that can injure the corn plant, particularly as we get close to pollination and the ear beginning to fill, are definite factors that can affect mold production and hence mycotoxin production.